Hi folks, Yasin here, back again with another Star Wars history lesson video for you today. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Please like this video, as well as all my other videos and all my shorts. Please share them, please comment on them. Please subscribe to my channel, and please click the bell for new notifications from me. And also, please follow me on X, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Right, here goes. Rogue One, a Star Wars story is a 2016 American epic space opera film directed by Gareth Edwards and written by Chris Weitz, and Tony Gilroy. Produced by Lucasfilm and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, it is the first Star Wars anthology film and a prequel to Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope. It stars Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Ben Mendelsohn, Donnie Yen, Mads Mikkelsen, Alan Tudyk, Riz Ahmed, Zhang Wen, and Forest Whitaker. Set a week before the events of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, the film follows rebels who steal the schematics for the Galactic Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. It details the Rebel Alliance's first effective victory against the Empire, as referenced in the Star Wars opening crawl. John Knoll, who served as the visual effects supervisor of the Star Wars prequel trilogy, pitched Rogue One's story as an episode of the unproduced television series Star Wars Underworld in 2003. He pitched it again as a film following Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012. Edwards was hired to direct in 2014. Edwards sought to differentiate Rogue One from previous Star Wars films and approach it as a war film, omitting the opening crawl and transitional screen wipes used in the main Skywalker saga installments. Principal photography began at Pinewood Studios, Buckinghamshire, in early August 2015 and wrapped in February 2016. The film went through extensive reshoots in mid-2016. The score was composed by Michael Giacchino, rather than the Skywalker saga composer John Williams, with an estimated production budget of $200 to $280.2 million. Rogue One is one of the most expensive films ever made. Rogue One premiered in Los Angeles on December 10, 2016, and was theatrically released in the United States on December 16th of that same year. It received positive reviews with praise for its acting, story, visuals, musical score, cinematography, and darker tone than previous Star Wars films, but criticism for its pacing and digital recreations of Carrie Fisher and Peter Cushing. The film grossed $1 billion worldwide, becoming the second highest grossing film of 2016, and received 2 Academy Award nominations for Best Sound Mixing and Best Visual Effects. Andor, a prequel television series, which I'll be covering in a future video, aired on the streaming service Disney Plus for 2 seasons from 2022 to last year, 2025. Onto the plot now. Research scientist Galen Erso and his family are in hiding on the planet Lamu, when Imperial weapons developer Orson Krennic arrives to press him into completing the Death Star, a super weapon capable of destroying planets. Gillen's wife Lyra is killed in the confrontation, while their daughter Jane escapes and is rescued by rebel extremist Saw Gerrera. 15 years later, cargo pilot Bodhi Rook defects from the Empire, taking a holographic message from Gillen to Saw on the moon Jedha. Rebel Alliance intelligence officer Cassian Andor learns of the Death Star and Bodhi's defection from an informant at Kafrene. Jin is freed from an Imperial labor camp on Wobani and is brought to the rebels' base on Yavin 4, where rebel leader Mon Mothma convinces her to find Gillen so the Alliance can learn more about the super weapon. Cassian is covertly ordered to aid Jin but to kill Gillen rather than extract him. I've seen this movie before, it shouldn't be no surprise to me. Jin Cassian and reprogrammed former Imperial droid K2SO traveled to Jedha, where the Empire loots kyber crystals to power the Death Star. Having read that just now, I'm now starting to think why the Death Star wasn't lit up from kyber crystals. Hey, just see. Jin, Cassian, and reprogrammed former Imperial droid K2SO travel to Jedha, where the Empire loots kyber crystals to power the Death Star. In Jedha City, Saw and his partisans are engaged in an armed insurgency against the Empire, and Jin and Cassian get caught in the crossfire. Aided by blind spiritual warrior Chirrut Imwe and his mercenary friend Bees Malbus, Jin makes contact with Saw, who is holding Bodhi. Saw shows her the message in which Gillen reveals he has secretly built a vulnerability into the Death Star. The schematics are located in an Imperial data vault on the planet Scarif. Speaking of Gillen Erso, I still have an impersonation of him that I want to do for you folks, so stay tuned for that. On board the Death Star, Krennic orders a test fire which destroys Jedha City. Jane and her group take Bodhi and flee the moon, but accidentally leave Gillen's message behind. Saw chooses to stay behind and dies in the explosion. Imperial Governor Grand Moff Tarkin, Wilhuff Tarkin, congratulates Krennic before using Bodhi's defection as a pretext to take control of the Death Star. Bodhi leads the group to Gillen's Imperial Research Facility on the planet Iadu, where Cassian hesitates to kill Gillen. Rebel bombers then attack the facility. Gillen is wounded and dies in Jin's arms before she escapes with her group on a stolen Imperial cargo shuttle. Krennic is summoned by Darth Vader to answer for the attack on Jedha City. Krennic seeks his support for an audience with the Emperor, but Vader instead force chokes him to ensure that no further problems occur. Jin proposes a mission to steal the Death Star schematics, but the Alliance Council feels there is no chance of victory. Frustrated at their inaction, Jin's group leads a small squad of volunteers to raid the vault using the stolen Imperial shuttle, which Bodhi dubs Rogue One. They gain entry through the planet's shield, and Jin, Cassian, and K2SO infiltrate the base, while the others attack the Imperial garrison as a diversion. The Alliance learns of the raid from intercepted Imperial communications and deploys the fleet in support. Engaging in a space battle against the Imperial forces, K2SO sacrifices himself so Jin and Cassian can retrieve the data. Chirrut is killed after activating the switch to allow communication with the rebel fleet, and Base is killed shortly afterward. Bodhi is killed by a grenade after informing the rebel fleet that it must deactivate the planetary shield to let the plans be transmitted. Rebel Admiral Raddus uses an Alliance ship to crash two Imperial Star Destroyers into each other. The wreckage destroys the shield generator. Jin obtains the plans but is ambushed by Krennic, who is shot and wounded by Cassian. Jin transmits the plans to the Rebel command ship moments before the Death Star arrives above Scarif. Tarkin then orders the Death Star to destroy the Citadel. Krennic is vaporized by the demolition beam, while Jin and Cassian find themselves unable to escape the explosion and embrace as they are killed in the ensuing shockwave. The Rebel fleet begins to jump to hyperspace, however. The Rebel fleet begins to jump to hyperspace. However, many ships are intercepted by Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. Vader boards the Rebel command ship and slaughters many troops in an attempt to reclaim the plans. But a smaller ship escapes with them aboard the fleeing ship preparing to enter hyperspace. Princess Leia Organa declares that the plans will bring hope for the rebellion. And that, my friends, is what leads us to A New Hope, which I'll talk about in my next video. But before I get into A New Hope, I'll first talk about Walt Disney Studios, Industrial Light and Magic, and other companies associated with Lucasfilm and so on. So it will take a while for me to get to New Hope, but for now, that's it. Before I go, I want to read off the list of cast members and the direction and so on for you folks. Directed by Gareth Edwards, screenplay by Chris Weitz and Tony Gilroy, story by John Knoll and Gary Whitta, based on characters by George Lucas, produced by Kathleen Kennedy and Alison Schiamu, Simon Emanuel, starring Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, Ben Mendelsohn, Donnie Yen, Mads Mikkelsen, Alan Tudyk, Jiang Wen, and Forrest Whitaker. Cinematography by Greg Fraser, edited by John Gilroy, Jabez Olsen, and Colin Woody. Music by Michael Giacchino. Distributed by Walt Disney Motion Pictures. Produced by Lucasfilm. Yeah. That's it for now, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, please share it, please comment on it, please subscribe to my channel, please click the bell for new notifications from me, and please follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and X. I'll be back soon with my next history lesson, which is going to be on... I'll be back soon with my next few history lessons, which are going to be on Walt Disney, Industrial Light and Magic, and Episode 4, A New Hope. But tonight I'll be back with an impersonation of Galen Erso, his transmission dialogue, monologue rather, and also in a short while with my thoughts on Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side. But that's all for now. Bye.